Hey everyone, Shiv here. So, the other day I was having a conversation with somebody who was making some pretty brash statements that were just hurting my mind because it just was, again, more of the same bullshit rhetoric that we've been seeing since, I don't know, September, October, probably before then. Um, if you don't understand what I'm talking about here, that's because I've been deliberately vague here. And I'm going to get a couple things out of the way first. One, I don't support Gamergate. I agree with a lot of the points they have about ethics in journalism, mostly because for about a decade now, I've realized that pretty much gaming news journalism is an absolute total fucking joke. Um, None of the websites that exist have ever really put out a review of a game that I thought was in any way, shape, or form relevant to me. A lot of games that they've said were horrible, I went and played, and I actually found were quite enjoyable. And games they thought were highly praiseworthy, I found highly cringeworthy. So, and again, that's my own personal taste, and I'm not really going to say that they're wrong or they don't know what the fuck they're talking about or anything of that nature. It's just I've come to learn that what I like and what I enjoy versus what they are promoting are not the same thing. Now, when this whole Gamergate thing came out, it originally was focusing on Zoe Quinn, or more specifically, the relationships that Zoe Quinn had with certain editors and writers for some of these agencies. And yeah, I kind of knew stuff like that was happening. For a time, I worked for EA Sports, and I know that there was some collusion there to promote their games, so not very surprising. Companies do that quite often. But the whole sex thing, which I'm going to get out of the way. Really, it's nobody's business who the fuck she fucks, all right? I don't really give a damn of who she fucks. I don't even give a damn that she did, like, modeling softcore porn shit beforehand. That's nobody's fucking business. All right, and it should have just been focused on the editor himself. Mind you, her ex-boyfriend was a fucking crybaby little bitch, for putting up that damn WordPress. And I'm calling him out on it. You were a little bitch. All right. So I've had to deal with this stupidity and literally have watched the world turned into this giant clusterfuck of political correctness all over again. I had to deal with political correctness like in the late 90s, early 2000s, and it was kind of a joke then too. And now here it is coming back again. But this time it's come back with a vengeance because, if you want to have a movement, you got to have it to at least have some sort of guts and some sort of figurehead, something that people can rally behind. That's kind of how you get that to work. All right. So I'm the kind of person that I ask questions, because I may not agree with what somebody is saying, and I'd like them to explain it to me a little bit more, because maybe I'm just not understanding what they're saying. I may not be the most intelligent of people, and I'll fully fucking admit that. The degree from Northwestern University notwithstanding. And maybe I've had a different life. I grew up poor. I served in the military. I worked my ass off. I'm disabled now. So I have a different developmental reference point than other people would. So yeah, maybe I'm just not getting a lot of what they're saying, but I'm a student of history, and I do like to read, and I love learning new things. And it's funny, I see so much things from today that have been happening in the past quite often, and so many interesting fucking points of reference on this. It's sad. It's like people were taking notes and now they're applying the same stupid shit today, and it's wow. All right, so again, I don't support GG or anti-GG. I think both of them are doing the same stupid shit, fighting against each other. It basically boils down to this. Both groups have a right to exist. The more you try to make one group not exist, the more villainous you look and more pathetic you look. And that's my stance on that. So I'm going to take an argument that has been made by one side, and I'm going to take a look at it. Now, every time somebody brings up Gamergate, they say it's a hate movement because they're going around harassing and threatening people, most notably Brianna Wu. Now, I've tried talking with Brianna Wu, which I asked a question and was immediately blocked, contrary to that video where it's like, if you have any questions, this and the other, just ask me. I'm fully free. I asked a very simple question, and I was blocked, and then she made a little funny joke about it, which I didn't really give two shits because I played her game, and that was a bigger joke, to be perfectly honest. Again, some people might like that game. I personally found it uninspired, lackluster, and to be perfectly, the anatomical proportions in that game seemed a little out of whack. Not to mention it was very, I don't know, felt very sexist by the sheer lack of male characters. And, you know, after watching some Anita Sarkeesian things, it was like, you know, flipping that paradigm. So, yeah. But, hey, that's fine. Everybody's allowed to make whatever art they feel it represents them. And I fully support that. Fully support that. But Brianna Wu has been threatened and harassed. And I know for a fact that Brianna Wu has been threatened and harassed because I've seen it. I've seen it left and right. Alright? This is what happens when you step up and you basically start making fun of something. All right, when you step up and go, oh, the United States Army, you all are nothing but closet homosexuals. Get over it. Guess what? You just pissed off 1.3 million people. Now, obviously, Brianna Wu did not do this, and nor would I think Brianna Wu ever would do this because that would just be stupid. Stupid. It would be so beyond idiotic for her to ever do that. But in the beginning of Gamersgate, you know, a lot of people were lambasting Zoe Quinn. And yeah, those are assholes. They exist. It's the internet. You get used to that. Is it right? Fuck no. Is it something to throw a fit about? No. Is it something that we should all strive to try to eliminate? Yeah. Getting rid of assholes is fine. But the problem is there's assholes in the real world too. So that you're kind of on a futile crusade there. But, you know, was getting threats. She took action, and I'm not even going to get into the validity of whether or not she left her house because I think that's irrelevant, period, point blank. But threats were made. Whether or not they were serious, whether or not they were viable, I don't really give a fuck. Threats were made, and really, threats should not be made. That is the absolute bullshit. That is coercion, and people who do that should just go fuck off. All right? But, it started to get to a point where like every day there was like some new threats and new threats and new threats and new threats. And they all apparently were supposedly coming from this one group of Gamergate. And the problem was I saw the threats. I saw nothing that attached to Gamergate. And that was like the biggest thing that they were using as an argument. It's like, how can you say that this person is from our camp or our line of thinking? We never... There's no hashtag, there's no this, there's no that. I mean, come on now. Again, here's the flaw of being part of a hashtag movement. Anybody can be a part of it. I mean, there's like no qualifications, there's no anything. As a gamer myself, whenever we are in a group environment and somebody acts like a fucking dick, okay, here's generally what happens. The rest of the group won't accept that, i.e. in an MMO environment, and we kick that person out. Now, in first-person shooter environments, it's a little bit difficult because kicking somebody out is not always available in those games, and people act like fucking asses because, well, they're inherently an ass, and that kind of gameplay generally encourages people to be a dick because it's almost entirely ego-driven. Yeah, he with the highest kill count wins. True story. But you know what? There are a lot of people who play first-person shooters that aren't like that. And then there's a lot of drunken frat boys who do. And, well, let's be honest. Drunken frat boys are always the funnest and dumbest. Yes, I know I'm going to get some censorship from, the Greek Council or some bullshit like that. I don't really give two shits. All right, so many threats made, and this, that, and the other. And, I started wondering the validity of some of these threats and, how can you, whatever. So while I was having a conversation with somebody about a completely irrelevant topic, person was a transgender goth, runs a little Facebook page supporting feminism and this, that, and the other. And I saw her making a huge amount of, supremacist doctrine statements and some huge fallacies. And oh my God, the hypocrisy was just blowing my fucking head up. So the topic of Brianna Wu came up. Yeah, because can't have any conversation without mentioning Brianna Wu, apparently. So Brianna Wu came up, is like, well, transgender people are threatened and harassed all the time. Look at Brianna Wu. I'm like, what about it? I mean, there are people who say that she wasn't actually threatened. She didn't leave her actual house. I mean, not that I'm saying that's relevant or anything. It's just, it's kind of hard to really take in that there were so many people that would be willing to do this. So in order to try to basically sway my opinion, and, turn me over to her side, I guess, sends me this picture. And I'm going to show this right now. Sends me this picture. And this was relatively recent, as a matter of fact, as you can tell by the timestamp. So, I had a GamerGator interrupt my YSU panel this week demanding that I thank them for all the good they've done for women. Okay, first of all, that's funny, because that's not exactly what was originally stated. And I know what was originally stated because I had somebody bring my attention to this and ask me, hey, keep an eye out for this video because I'd really want to see it. And, all right, so here's what we got. At YSU, Brianna Wu was doing her little panel, which if you haven't seen any videos of her doing this kind of discussion, I guess, is what they would call it, but I would call it pretty much berating anything with a penis. If you haven't seen this, there's a video, and I'm going to warn you, it's edited all to hell and back, and it's done in a way to make Brianna Wu look like this horrible monster. And in all honesty, I don't think you could really use that as a fair reference point, but it kind of gives you a minute idea. And I do say minute in the absolute and total quantifiable aspect of size of its relevance. But you could use that, I guess. So apparently there, during the Q&A section, somebody basically who supported Gamergate, I guess, asked some questions. And, well, it got a little heated. Security came and escorted him out. He left his backpack there and some other stuff, and he was let back in to grab his backpack, or actually no, the cops went and got the backpack and took it out. Now, there was some interesting stuff that happened out of that, of Brianna claiming that it might have been an IED and she was in fear of her life, which I saw that and I was immediately offended. I've lost people to IEDs. I have a few friends who are now, well, let's just say their quality of life has been reduced because of IEDs, massively. And that pissed me off. That pissed me off so much that you would use something that has such a detriment to people I know and to the American military as a platform for supposed victimization. That pissed me off. I'm sorry, it did. And I was ready to like lay out a huge video of me basically yelling at you, but really what's that going to accomplish? Absolutely nothing. So I get shown this picture, and since I knew something about this YSU panel, I found it a little weird that, it's now being brought back up again with this person. And I looked at what this person wrote. I was like, I don't see why we haven't killed Brianna Wu yet, #Gamergate. And, it's got the nice little Gamergate controller there, right? This makes it seem like, oh my God, here's your verifiable proof that this is what we're looking for. This is proof that Gamergate is on a crusade to attack Brianna Wu. Right? Right? That's what it looks like right there. That's exactly what you're seeing right there. Right? Wow. Okay. Unfortunately, there was a time in society where we fact check things, where we would go and make sure that what somebody was telling us was actually true. We didn't take them just solely on their face value when they put something up here. Now, I'll tell you right now, this is a hoodwink. This is misdirection. This is lights, camera, action, literally, all right? And let me show you exactly why. So here we're actually looking at this guy's account, all right? First of all, I went through all 858 tweets associated with this account. I can tell you right now, this isn't his first account or his second account or his third account. This guy literally is getting banned on average of once every 4 months, if not sooner. Now, as you can see, this is the first tweet he made from this account on the 28th of March. And here we are on the 5th of April. So he's done 858 tweets in that amount of time. Now, 858 tweets, that's about a year's worth of tweets, give or take, depending on how active on social media you actually are. So this is kind of interesting. Literally, this was all populated within a certain amount of time. Now, I went to some of the other accounts that got banned, and I looked for any kind of screen caps, which luckily somebody had a couple of them. And I looked through some of the stuff there. It was the same shit. There was nothing in there about Gamersgate, but everything in there was nothing but pure I'm a dick troll. And that's what it is. And it's kind of sad because this is almost proving what the GGers have been saying. It's like, look, we're not making these threats, all right? There's third-party trolls that are coming in, threatening people, all right? And then they're hiding behind us. Or they're just threatening you and not even using GG in a hashtag or anything like that. And then you're automatically labeling them with us. Like, pretty much Gamergate is damned either way, all right? There's nothing they can do without being accused, and there's nothing they cannot do without being accused. So, I mean, they're kind of fucked. All right, so now let's just bring up this image again here. All right, so now notice this little symbol right here. And actually, if you go to this picture, he comments. He comments on it in her Twitter. There was no GG on there whatsoever. And I went through the pic history that he put up there. Nope, never once. So that tells us one important thing. This was added after the fact. Basically, I'm going to screen cap this, put it over to Photoshop, drop a layer. Why would Brianna Wu do that? Because does this somehow enrich and support her narrative? Does this somehow create even more reasoning behind the whole victim narrative? Does it? It would appear so. And for those who are unwilling to actually look at this, that's exactly what it did. That's exactly what it did. If you actually go and read through the comments there, everybody is just... Pfft. And it's funny, even in the comments of this picture, the guy goes, I'm actually not Gamersgate. I'm sorry, but I'm not. I just really think you're stupid. You know, and a bunch of stuff. And he even goes, oh, Brianna Wu, you know I'm joking with you, this, that, seriously, it was an April Fool's fucking joke, right? April Fool's fucking joke. Because this guy is nothing but a troll. This is the absolute proof that this fucking troll, I mean, holy crap. I mean, he even insulted people from the state I live in, all right? Fuck off, you subhuman Floridian piece of shit. Mexicans are more human than Cubans. That's just sad, man. Hey, you think I can trick someone again since I'm on another account and no one remembers me? So, yeah, this guy is doing nothing but trying to be a dick, and he's doing it deliberately, okay? I don't know. Maybe that's his agenda. Maybe it could be somebody's personal sock puppet account to, oh, I don't know, cause damage, this, that, and the other, whatever. Oh no, Shiv, get your tinfoil hat on. No, 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 ladies and gentlemen. There's actually a point of reference in history for this. There's actually quite a few points of reference in history for this. Most notably, the FBI and the New York Police Department. All right. In the 60s and 70s, there were a lot of these left-leaning groups out there that were calling for the end of war in Vietnam, social equality, all these kind of really cool things, right? My father was part of one of these groups. My mother, I'm not too sure. I've never really quite asked her, but I know she supported the whole peace initiative and everything of that nature. And she was a flower child, hippie, and getting high and fucking everything that moved. So yeah. But what ended up happening is, at the time, and much to today, the FBI and the police were a very much conservative group, and they didn't want these leftist hippies possibly affecting anything. So what they did was they took young-looking officers or agents, and they infiltrated into these groups. Now, initially this was just to gain information to make sure that they weren't doing some fucked up shit. Now, some of these groups were actually doing some fucked up shit, and I will fucking admit that. But where it gets really fucking funny is some of these groups were doing nothing more than, protesting and, sit-ins and things of that nature, awareness campaigns, education, things of that. Well, these police agencies literally invested thousands of dollars at the time, which, by the way, would have been tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands today, into doing this investigation. And they needed to get something out of it. So rather than wait for them to do something, they encouraged them to do something. Literally started getting people to think that you need to take stronger, decisive action. You need to bomb this building. You need to rob from these people. And literally set them up, gave them the supplies to do it, let them do it, and then came and arrested them. There's actually documented fact of this. Now, this is what's known as co-opting a movement. You get inside, you infiltrate, and then you turn what was something into something that it was never meant to be, thus creating a negative backlash on that group and other groups similar to it. The idea is that by destroying this one thing that actually was easy for them to get into, it would have a collateral backlash on other groups similar, and thus weakening their actual power structure. Well, again, I'm not saying that is what this is. I'm not saying what it isn't, but it is a way of looking at it. Like I said, I'm a student of history, very much a student of history. I mean, I could have even taken this back even further than that, but, I didn't want people coming up with that whole, oh, well, there we go, there's this law, where everything eventually boils down to you're a Nazi or you're a fascist. No, we're not going to go there. I have other arguments for that one, too. But it's kind of interesting. I mean, here we got one person trying to tell us, oh, all these threats are coming from Gamergate, and deliberately manufacturing something. And then you go and actually look at what's there, and there's no Gamergate whatsoever. Now, I went through the picture history. I went through his actual, tweet history, everything. I took about a day researching this guy and going through the other previous accounts. Really, guys, don't fall for this fucking stupidity, all right? That's all this is. This is stupidity. This is manipulation at its finest. I'm sorry. It really is. Brianna, stop, please. All right? You're getting your money. You already came from privilege. You're getting like 15 grand from your damn Patreon. Isn't that enough? Isn't it? You keep wanting to beat a dead horse. I mean, I'm not even going to bring up the fact that your new joke of a male character added into your game looks like a butch version of Miley Cyrus. Okay. But it is kind of sad, and I hope, for the love of God, that people actually hold people accountable. All right? If you're going to threaten somebody, you know what? I hope to fucking God the police come and fucking flame broil your ass. I've received fucking threats, not only to myself, but to my fucking cats. Now, I don't give a fuck if you insult me or threaten me or whatever, but the moment you threaten to kill my fucking cat, I'm going to skull fuck you. All right? Period, point blank. Your ass is mine. So when I see other people getting threats, it pisses me off. But then when I see that these threats aren't actually threats, and then people are using this to, I don't know, further their own agenda, that pisses me off worse. You should be ashamed of yourself. Brianna Wu, you should apologize to the entire world for your blatant manipulation. Anyway, until next time, this is Shiv saying I hope you guys can... It's a sad world we live in.